All right, this is 6th grade 4.3 multiplying decimals, and back on 4.1, if I remember right, we were doing a little bit of multiplying with decimals. I might do this a little different than what the book is doing. They're having you model. I usually don't have you model it. I usually just have you look at the numbers. So we'll talk about that as we get to it. I am on page 181, and our vocabulary is a factor, and I'm going to do this with an example. 3 times 5 equals 15. This right here is called the product. The product is an answer to a multiplication problem. Okay? The factors are the numbers that you multiply to get the product. Or another one, we can say 3 is a factor of 15 because 3 can go into 15 5 times. Factors go evenly into the products and they multiply to make the product. So that's a factor. So let's see what we got going here. It says using a model, and I'm going to tell you that I'm not expecting you to do a model. I want you to do the way that the key concept box will explain as we get going through the example. So it says the sloth is commonly referred to as the slowest mammal on Earth. Its top speed on the ground is about 0.2 miles per hour. To find the farthest a sloth might go in 0.6 of an hour, you use the model to find 0.2 times 0.6. That's that distance formula. Distance equals rate times time. So his rate is 0.2 times the time 0.6. So if you remember back in 4.1, I told you guys just forget about the decimals and multiply those numbers. 2 times 6 is 12. Then go back and count up the number of decimal places. There's one place in this answer and one place. Decimal places are any places to the right of the decimal. So there are a total of 2 decimal places. So you have to put, starting on the right side, you have to put 2 in your answer. So your answer would be 0.12. 12 hundredths of a mile is how far that sloth would go. Okay, so you forget about the decimals, multiply the numbers, put the decimals back in. So here they are with their square, and I'll explain this to you. You got 2/10. 2/10 goes this way. It's really tough. You're supposed to color in all of these, and then you're supposed to color in all of these going this way. Oh, terrible. And then where they overlap, right here, if you count up those colored boxes, there would be 12. And 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12. And there's 12. So it works, but I just think it's kind of confusing. If you want me to show that to you, I will. Come see me instead of, it'd be easier on a piece of graph paper. We'd get out a piece of graph paper and do that together. So when it says draw a model, we can ignore that. Okay, we don't need to make a model. I just want you to find the product. So you just take 1 times 7, which is 7, and then you count the decimal places. 1 here and 1 here makes a total of 2. So you go 1, 2, fill that empty place with 0, and put your decimal, your very long decimal point. I don't know how that happens. Put your decimal point right there. I don't even mean to do that. I don't know how that happens. 0.07 then would be the answer. So let's do a couple more and then we'll write their key concept box. There's drawing their square. So 3 times 8 is 24. And there's 2 decimal places. So you go 1, 1, 2, put the decimal, 0.24. That's it. That's all there is to multiplying those decimals. Multiply the numbers, then put in the decimals. 0.24. So this one, 9 times 7 is 63. And you put in your 2 decimal points. Done. 0.63. Okay, this one, example, well, let's go, before we do that, let's talk right here. I'm on the bottom of page 181. There's your key concept box. So everybody take a look at that, and what it does is it explains just what I am telling you right now. That's supposed to be an N right there. Sorry. Key concept. I didn't spell that right. It says, let me read the words to you. Multiply the decimals as you do whole numbers, then place the decimal point. The number of decimal places in the product is the total number of decimal places in the factor. So to paraphrase or put in our words, you multiply the numbers then count the decimal points in the factors and put that many decimal points in the product. It's supposed to be a T. There we go. So let's look at an example. 3.14 times 15.6. So you would just multiply 314 times 146 would be 48984. There are 2 decimal places in that number. There's 1 decimal place in that number for a total of 3 decimal places in the factors. So you have to put 1, 2, 3 decimal places in the product. The answer. That's it. Multiply the numbers, count up the decimal places, put it in the answer. Okay, so let's check out example number 2. It says, place the decimal point in the correct location. So what they've done is they've already done the multiplying for us. That is, this number over here, did they already do the answer? It looks like they did. They already, this was supposed to not be here. We're supposed to put that in this decimal point. So they've already multiplied. So there's 2 decimal places here. There's 3 decimal places here for a total of 5 decimal places. So you always start on the back side of the number, the right side, and you count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Just put in 5 places. And that's it. And there they are explaining that. That was decimal wasn't supposed to be there. Now you can check, it says check your answer using compatible numbers. So if you look up here, this number right here, at least what I don't know, it's around 250 times, this number is a little bit, it's almost 1. We lowered this one a little bit and we raised this one a little bit, so it's not going to be exact as around 250. Well, 212 is close to 250 when you're estimating, so we know we're right. The 200, it's in the 200s, so we know that our decimal is located in the correct position. Okay, so let's find some products right here. In this example, let's do what we just practiced. So I just take the numbers and I write 508 times 21. I take the number that has the biggest number, and I put it at the top, the one that has the most numbers in it. So I just multiply. That's 8, that's 0, 5 times 1 is 5, put a placeholder, 16, carry the 1, that's going to be a 1, 5 times 2 is 10, add those babies up. Okay, and then I count the decimal places. There's 2 right there, there's 1 right there for a total of 3, so I put 3 in my answer, 1, 2, 3. So this answer would be 10.668. And let's see. There they are. 2, they're talking about the number of decimal places. Well, we can check it. Sorry, let's go back and check. Just use those leading digits. This is a 5 and a 2. What's 5 times 2? 10 is my answer. Look, it's got a 10. So I know my answer is going to be close. Just doing a really quick front end estimation there. There they are multiplying. There they are putting in the 3 decimal places. Works out great. Okay, so B, check this out. This is all ready to go. 9 times 3 is 27. Carry the 2. 15 plus 2 is 17. Carry the 1. 4. 3 times 1 is 3. All the rest are zeros, so there's no reason to do them. You can do the zeros, but they'd just be 0, so it wouldn't matter. So there are 3 decimal places in that number. There's 2 in that one, so we've got to put 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So we fill that empty one with 0, and we put a 0 in front of it. Let's see how they do it. Oh, I always forget to check. So we check it 1 times, this is basically 1. We just do this as, so I can find my pin. 1 times 0.3 is 0.3. So we know it's reasonable. And there's those places. And that 0 is red right there because we had to add it in. Remember when we counted and there wasn't enough decimal places? So we had to add that 0 to make enough decimal places. All right, so we multiply. I would have lined that number up better, but 8 times 5 is 40, carry the 4, 8 plus 4 is 12, carry the 1, 16, 17, carry the 1, 56 plus 1 is 57. What is that number right there? That's a 2. I didn't make that very well. Okay, then I put a placeholder. 4 times 5 is 20. That's going to be a 2 now. 4 plus 2 is 6. 4 times 2 is 8. 4 times 7 is 28. Most of you just be careful when you're multiplying, and remember it helps to know your facts. That's a 2 because I can't write very well. 13 carry the 1, 16 carry the 1, 14 carry the 1, and a 3. Now we do the decimals. There's 3 up there, 1 there, so we put in 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Now let's check our answers, see if it's reasonable. This is about 7. This rounds to 5. 7 times 5 is 35, and check it out. Is that close to 35? Sure enough. Let's see what they do. They check it. They do the multiplying. They put in the 4 decimal places, and we are good. The reason why that one is red right here on this one now is that you, in your answer, you can drop that one. Because a 0 on the end of a decimal is not, if you drop it, you're not moving any place values of that 6, that 3, or that 2. And they're telling you right there you could drop that 0 at the end. You can't drop it on a whole number, but you can on a decimal number on the end. You couldn't drop it if it was in the middle of the decimal number. I think you guys would understand that. Okay, multiply. Use estimation to check your answer. So we're going through and we multiply this one. 215, I would just write it. 215 times 54. And if you need to put the decimals in to remember them, that's totally all right. Just pretend like they're not there right now. 0. Carry the 2, that's a 6. 4 times 2 is 8. Put a placeholder. 5 times 5 is 25. Carry the 2, that's going to be a 7. That's a 10. That looks like a 9, but it was a 0. 1, carry the 1. 16, carry the 1. 1, and there's 2 right there, and 1 there for a total of 3. 1, 2, 3. Let's check. 2 times 5 is 10, and 10 is really close to 11, so I think we're doing good. Yep, let's see if, oh, and remember we could drop this 0's at the end of the decimal, so 11.61 would be the same as, we could drop that 0 on the end if we wanted, and they didn't, but I don't know why, they just told us to do that. Okay, all right, 127, so it's basically just multiplying. More, don't forget the placeholders. A lot of people forget the placeholders. Multiply with me, please. Show all this work. 18 plus 6 is 24. Carry the 2. 9 plus 11. Put a placeholder. 7 times 2 is 14. Carry the 1. 2 times 2 plus 1 is 5. And that's 2, 3, 8, 8, 6, and 3. There's a decimal there and there. 1 and 1 makes 2. 36.83, and we got 12. That's really close to 3. 12 times 3 is 36. Yes, it's estimated, and I agree. 36.83. Yep, that's what we got. Okay, number 6. 6289 times just the 2. We don't need those zeros. 17, carry the 1, 5. That's a 12. And there's 3 decimal places in 1, so a total of 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. So 6 is close to 1. We would round up to 1. 0.2, so times 0.2 would just be, ooh, that's a tough one to estimate, to check. No, 6 is, oh, excuse me, that's a 6. That's a 6. And 6 times 0.2, 6 times 2 is 12, and you put in the 1 decimal place, 1.2. So that's my estimate. It checks almost perfect. Is that what I came up with? Yep, 1.2578. Okay, the last one on this part of the guided practice, I'm just going to go 86 times 4. Forget about all those zeros. Those zeros just give extra steps, and they're worth 0. That'd be 34. And there's 1, 2, 3, 4 total decimal places. 1, 2, 3, 4. So you add that 0 in there, 0.0344. This is close to 1. 1 times 0.04 is 0.04, and 0.03 is close to 0.04, so we'll take it. All right, finding the area of a rectangle, and we've done this before. The area of a rectangle is length times width. So you got a flag that is, here's this flag right here. It is 153.9 meters long and 77.7 meters wide. Find the area of the flag to the nearest 100 square meters. Well, we got to take 153. Let's see. We're going to multiply those two numbers. So we're going to take 153.9 times 77.7. Now this is there's big numbers here. 9 times 7 is 63. Carry the 6. 21 plus 6 is 27. Carry the 2. 35, 36, 37. Carry the 3. 10 placeholder. And times 7 again, it's going to be the same numbers. 3, 7, 7, 0, 1. 2 placeholders for this number. Times 7 again is going to be the same numbers. 3, 7, 7, 0, 1. Add it up, we get 3, 10, carry the 1, 15, 18, carry the 1, 15, carry the 1, 7, 8, 9, 1, 1. 2 decimal places, 1, 2. 11,958 is what I'm getting, and it wants to be rounded to the nearest 100. There's the hundreds, so that's enough to make that number go up. So it would be a 10, which would make that go up. So it would be 12,000 square meters. Square meters. Whew, there's a lot of numbers in there. They get the answer. And there's the rounding. Alright, so what if the flag was 15 hundredths feet long and 8.5 feet wide? We would just multiply those numbers. Remember, length times width, 16.15 times 8.5. Notice I'm not lining the decimals up. That's another thing a lot of kids do, is we're so used to lining them up when we add and subtract that we forget you don't have to line them up when you multiply. Just pretend like they're not there and line up the numbers just like you normally would when you multiply. That's a 7, that's 38, and you just need to get fast at multiplying. Times 5 is 40, carry the 4, 8 plus 4 is 12, carry the 1, 48 plus 1 is 49, carry the 4, 8 times 1 is 8 plus 4 is 12. I say I'd probably make a mistake, huh? And there's 1, 2, 3 decimal places, 1, 2, 3 to the nearest 10 square feet. So there's the tens place. So around 140 square feet, because that's the tens place. Let's see. Hey, look at that. Pretty good. All right. Oop, that was extra. All right, so that's it. We will see you next time. If you have any questions, please ask, and we'll see you in the next lesson. Bye.